So, good evening, and welcome along to another big show here on NVTV. Coming up on the show this week, we'll have live music in the studio from the frontman from the Black Star Riders and Thin Lizzy. Ricky Warwick is going to be here. We'll be looking ahead to the 30th anniversary of the Cinemagic Festival. The cast of Zombie Prom will be in the studio as well. And starting things off, we're talking James Bond. Now, if you're a regular listener to the radio show on a Wednesday morning about 9:45, you'll hear me talking to these two guys. It's David Sloan and Andrew McBride. Welcome. You've made it out of the radio studio and into my TV studio now.
Wow.
We're very privileged.
Privileged to be here. So we're talking James Bond. We talked this on the radio last week. Pierce Brosnan has said recently that he reckons there should be a female James Bond. Andrew, should there be?
Yes, there should, without a doubt. I mean, in this wonderful age of equality that we have, why would you not have a female James Bond?
And if you were going to have one, who would be the perfect female James Bond?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Fiona Bruce.
What?
Absolutely. You know, it's never mind Antiques Roadshow and Question Time and all that.
Right,
yes, that
okay.
would be excellent. Honestly, I don't know. Well, possibly Angelina Jolie's pretty good at that whole action thing, and she's done a few of those jobs.
Tomb Raider to Bond, possibly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
David, lots of guys are saying Jodie Comer.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, they're going to have to stop it. I think Theresa May is
What?
the perfect... No. I think Theresa... Did you see her dancing?
I did see her dancing.
Yes.
It's as good as yours.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I think Theresa might be. You know, let's face it, she's got nothing to do now, so she's got plenty of time. And, you know, I think we should shoot this James Bond here in Northern Ireland.
Right.
And obviously, if there's going to be a female James Bond, then, of course, the fellas can be the Bond girls. And we have a small part here for Andrew lined up. In fact, we've already been shooting up along the north coast, and Andrew's playing the part in our new film of he's going to be Willie Galore.
Right, okay.
It is a very small part.
Okay.
But Andrew's playing it perfect.
We got some comments from some of our listeners and viewers to the show as well. June says there should most definitely not be a female James Bond. If they want a female spy, the equivalent of 007, then they should create a new character. Emma says Ian Fleming would have loved it. He thought on a different level and was in love with strong, mad, angry ladies. So yes, there should be.
Yes, totally agree.
And James says a new 00-something female character I'm all for. I think it would work well, but leave alone the 007 badge for the male character it was written for. Right, David, if there was a female James Bond, what would you call her?
Janet would be my first choice, or Joan. Or maybe Jackie.
Right, okay.
And there's absolutely no reason.
Anyway, what would she drink? Is she going to have a martini, shaken not stirred, Andrew?
If it's from here, no, it's got to be Lurgan champagne all the way. Buckfast. That's it. Yes, I imagine Uni Bond would like a glass of Buckfast, or possibly a nice, I don't know, a cocktail of some sort.
Okay.
Something strong and womanly.
Well, it have to
like
be
a baby sham.
It would have to, who drinks baby sham these days? It's like asking somebody for a snowball these days. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Remember snowballs? Yeah. Exactly. It would be gin these days. You can see all the gin companies rushing to get their bottles in the shops.
Oh yes, totally. Product placement will be all over the show.
So I know, David, you've been busy writing away this Northern Ireland James Bond story. What about a title for the movie?
I'm glad you asked that question, Robin. We were thinking that we could remake Dr. No as Dr. No, Do, Do. Or Never Say Never as Never Say Never, Never, Never.
Yes.
So we're playing around with the titles.
All right, well, David and Andrew, we look forward to seeing this Bond movie hitting our cinema screens in the near future. But in the meantime, I'll see you guys back on the radio Wednesday morning on Belfast 89 FM. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin.
Thanks, Robin.
Right, time for some live music, and the Black Star Riders are back with a great new album. They've got a Belfast gig coming up as well, but right now, live in the studio is their frontman, Ricky Warwick.
Well, they said you were no good for me, that you would bring me down to your level. They said you would drag me through the mud and silence my name forever. Sometimes you gotta take the rough with the smooth. I kinda like all your rough edges. Playing safe is only playing, and I cannot let get dangerous. The next time that it rains, let's walk home in the web. 'Cause you're great at making choices that I live to regret. If it ain't the end of the world, if it ain't the end of the world, if it ain't the end of the world, it's the end of you and me. Well, they said I was wasting my time, but it was my time to waste. They said you were fooling around, was one more fool around this place. Vengeance never made me happy, guess I was never hurt enough. And my heart beats a little faster, there's no tourniquet for love. The next time that it rains, let's walk home in the wet. 'Cause you're great at making choices that I live to regret. If it ain't the end of the world, if it ain't the end of the world, if it ain't the end of the world, it's the end of you and me. Next time that it rains, let's walk home in the wet. 'Cause you're great at making choices that I live to regret. Well, they said you were no good for me, that you would bring me down to your level. They said you would drag me through the mud and tarnish my name forever. If it ain't the end of the world, if it ain't the end of the world, if it ain't the end of the world, it's the end of you and me. If it ain't the end of the world, if it ain't the end of the world, if it ain't the end of the world, it's the end of you and me. Ain't that right?
So that's Ricky Warwick, that's called Ain't the End of the World, and the man himself joins me now in the studio. Ricky, how are you, sir?
Good, how's it going, Robin?
Very well, thank you. So
Good.
that's from the new Black Star Riders album. We'll talk about the album in a second, but tell us the story behind that song.
Yeah, it was one of the first songs we wrote for the album. I wrote it with myself and Christian Martucci, a guitar player. Took it into the boys. Scott Gorham plays some great signature Scott Gorham guitar solo on it. I'd say it's a very trademark Black Star Riders song. Lyrically, it kind of, at first listen, you might think it's a love song, somebody singing to their partner about being treated badly, but I actually wrote it about the evil twin that we all have, making you want to do bad things, and not listening to the voices in your head and trying to overcome your demons, as it were, and saying, look, we all know the world's falling apart around us. You're just adding to the misery. I'm going to deal with you, and then I'll worry about what's happening in the world. So that's kind of what it's about.
So what about the new album? I'm hearing lots of great reviews. Lots of people are saying, there isn't a bad song on the album. They could all be massive tunes.
Right.
Has it taken some time to get the album together?
No, very quickly. We came off the road end of last year, in November, straight into the studio in start of February of this year. Most of the songs were written on the road as we went along. We wrote about 16 and whittled those down to the 10 that were on the album. So the whole thing process, we write all the time, so we're very lucky in that regard that we're never stuck for material.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about working with Scott Gorham. You mentioned him there. I mean, the man is a legend, isn't he?
Of course. I mean, I've known Scott for over 25 years now, and I've been in a band with him for 10 years now. And he's a rock star. He doesn't try to be a rock star, but he just is. He has whatever it is, the swagger and the confidence to pull it off without even trying. He always looks cool. Hell of a guitar player. Stories for days, as you can imagine, back in the Lizzie days with him and Phil tearing it up all over the world. And it's just great to be around him. I still do stand on stage and look over to my left and I'm like, oh my God, that's Scott Gorham. I'm on stage with Scott Gorham and I still get a tremendous buzz out of it. And most importantly, he's one of my dearest and closest friends, and been a big ally to me and a supporter of myself musically, and give me the confidence to to do what I do. So, and love the man dearly. He's fantastic.
And it must be a great honour for you as well to have been asked to be part of Thin Lizzy.
Dream come true, you know. I mean, as you're a kid, you dream of singing for your favourite band. Lizzy were my favourite band, and when I got that phone call, it was a no-brainer to sort of say yes. But after I put the phone down, it was like, oh no, what have I done?
Yes.
Because obviously, you know, Phil Lynott is to me the ultimate rock and roll frontman of all time.
Yeah.
And I sort of had then go about, well, okay, how am I going to do this? Obviously, I want to honour Phil's memory. I want to be respectful, and I want to be humble about the whole thing. And that's what I've tried to do. Anytime I'm singing those Lizzy songs, you know, I'm just trying to stand beside those shoes, never in them.
Yes.
Just always beside them, and honour the great man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do, you know.
But in the beginning, was there immense pressure? Were you worried every night going on stage?
Yeah, I mean, I still am. I mean, you know, listen, there's a lot of the no Phil, no Lizzy brigade out there, and I get that, and I respect that, and I understand it. Look, when I close my eyes and I think of Thin Lizzy, I don't see them with me singing.
Yeah.
I see them with Phil, and that's how it should be. And I can't overemphasize the fact that Phil's no longer with us, but these songs are, and it's about keeping these songs alive. And there's a lot of people never got to see Lizzy back in the day, so if they can come and hear these songs, you know, in all their glory, and it's keeping Phil's memory alive, and that's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, the pressure's enormous. It is, because people are scrutinise you to see how you're singing those songs. You know, I remember the very first show we played was in Aberdeen in Scotland, and there was a kabuki in front of the stage. You know, and what would happen, the kabuki would drop and we'd walk out and start playing. So the intertape's going, and my knees, you know, would shake. I'm standing beside Scott, you know, and I wanted to punch him at this point for getting me into it. And he just taps me on the leg and he says, "Hey bud, be all right." And I was like, "No, it won't." You know, of course the curtain drops and you go out there and away you go. You know.
Wow. So obviously Thin Lizzy would have been a big influence in you growing up. Who else were you listening to back in Belfast in those days?
Robin, there was two main Irish bands when I was a kid, and really they were obviously Thin Lizzy, like you said, and the other band was Stiff Little Fingers.
Yeah.
And Stiff Little Fingers was the first band I ever saw live, and that was life changing. That was walking into the Ulster Hall as a naive, scared 13-year-old, you know, kid, and coming out there going, "That's what I want to do. I want to be on that stage." You know, I want to be in Stiff Little Fingers. You know, but I'll settle for Thin Lizzy. You know, that was life changing. It was defining, and it was the, you know, beg, steal, and borrow anything I could to get that first electric guitar. After that. But there's a lot of Irish bands, Horselips as well. You know, Van Morrison was a big influence on me.
You were from East Belfast as well,
yeah,
weren't
you know, originally, yeah. So, and then, you know, moving on, a lot of the punk stuff, bands like Motorhead, you know, early Metallica, stuff like that, and a lot of soul. I love a lot of Northern soul music, a lot of Motown as well. So,
what about the first record you ever bought?
Slade, Take Me Back Home by Slade.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I still have it somewhere actually as well. Yeah, I have two older sisters, and they were big rock music fans, and they were always bringing albums home, which was where I discovered a lot of the rock music that sort of influenced me. But I remember being taken into Newton Ards when I was about 9 or 10 to buy Take Me Back Home by my big sister.
Brilliant.
And that was it.
Let's talk about the Black Star Riders, because you're making quite a name for yourself on the rock scene out there, aren't you? Yeah,
it's going really well. I mean, we're 4 albums in now, Robin, and 7 years. And I think we've now defined our sound, and you know, we've distanced ourselves from that Thin Lizzy connection. I mean that with all due respect. You know, we're now playing all Black Star Rider songs in the set, and it's just gone from strength to strength, which is great. And
you've been sharing like stadiums with people like Whitesnake and Def Leppard. Yeah. I know Joe Elliott's a big fan, isn't he?
Yeah, Joe's a good friend. Known Joe for a long time. I was best man at Joe's wedding, which was a real honour. And what I love about Joe is he's brutally honest. You know, if he doesn't like something, he'll tell you he doesn't like it. So when Joe is singing your praises, you know you're doing something right. So it's just great to have people like that as your allies.
So what's it like on the road with bands like Def Leppard, Whitesnake? I mean, is it complete rock and roll madness?
A wee glass of whiskey after a show, that's about it. But no, it's all very sensible these days, sadly. Nothing scandalous to report.
So the Black Star Riders are going back out on the road.
Yes.
And I know there is a Belfast date, isn't
Indeed. Thursday, 17th of October at the Limelight. Looking forward to that immensely. Obviously, a hometown gig for me, so it's always very special.
Because, of course, LA's the home now, isn't it?
It is. 15 years. I've been a Los Angeles person, and listen, you know, it's a beautiful city. Sun's always shining.
Yeah.
But it's not home. It is home, but it's not home.
Yes, yeah. And obviously, when you're on the road, it's just a quick flying visit, like today, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, sadly, most of the time when I do get back is for work or I'm playing here or something like that, so I don't get a lot of time to hang out and see family and friends. But what I've got sneaky, what I tend to do now is if we're finishing a tour or there's a break in a tour between festivals or something, you know, they'll say, well, we'll put you up in a hotel in London. Like, no, I'll go back to Belfast for a few days. Yeah. And that's when I get to come home and chill out and get to see family and friends and you know.
And when you come back to play a venue like the Limelight, I mean, that's a pretty special music venue here in Belfast, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great spot, and we've done it a few times now. It's always rammed, and there's always a great atmosphere. You know, the audience here is hard to beat anywhere in the world. They're so passionate and so loyal. It's just great playing here in Belfast.
And then when you come back to do that, you're doing HMV as well, aren't you?
Yeah, we've got an in-store going on. So basically, anybody that buys the album can get, at HMV in Belfast, we'll get a wristband to come to a special in-store that we're doing on the day of the show. We're doing, I think, a 4-track acoustic set in HMV. Excellent. So we'll be able to come along and see that as well.
So the album's called Another State of Grace.
It is.
You're going to do one more track for us. What are you going to do this time?
We're going to do a track called Tonight the Moonlight Let Me Down, which is a song that I did write with Scott Gorham. It's a Scott Gorham guitar riff. And yeah.
Okay, look forward to this. Ricky, thank you so much. And
thank you.
Very best of luck with the album.
Appreciate it, thanks.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. One more time, here is Ricky Warwick.
We cannot fill a pie together like in the days of no surrender, wishing things would only get better, but they never do. I'm always leaving, but I'll never leave. I'm always going, but I'll never go. I'm always thinking, but I'll never know. I'm always running, but I'm moving slow. Whatever you've been, you were always the one. Whatever you did, you should always have done. Wherever you went, you should never have gone. And I can't wait till you come back home. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound. Tonight the moonlight let me down. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na. Do you still remember making out on the stormy weather, wishing it would last forever, but it never does? You're always laughing, but you never smile. You're always crying, but you never cry. You're always running, but you don't know why. Can't win for losing, but you gotta try. Whatever you did, you were always the one. Wherever you went, you should always have gone. Wherever you went, you should never have gone. And I can't wait till you come back home. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound. Tonight the moonlight let me down. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na. Tonight the moonlight let me down. Tonight the moonlight let me down. Whatever you've been, you were always the one. Whatever you did, you should always have done. Wherever you went, you should never have gone. And I can't wait till you come back home. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound. Tonight the moonlight let me down. Tonight the moonlight let me down. I'm still here and you're not around. You're out of sight and you're out of sound.
The 1950s high school rock and roll zombie musical Zombie Prom comes to Belfast for the first time. It's an Apollo Arts production and it comes to the Crescent Arts Centre from the 16th until the 18th of October. And director Nathan Jones and James Dougal, who's starring in the show, join me now in the studio. Guys, welcome. Nathan, this show sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes, this show is very, very different to a lot of shows that you've seen before. The plot, a lot of people will call it absolutely absurd, but absurd for me is my personal cup of tea. It is absolutely incredibly crazy, wacky, weird, with cracking songs, wee bit of something for everybody in it. So yeah, it's really, really, really cool.
And the good news is people here haven't seen this before, so they're getting a totally new experience.
Yeah, like you say, it's the first time it's been done here. So essentially, I've got my own, however I want to take it. I've got absolute free range because no one's ever seen it, so I can do pretty much whatever I want to it. So I was experimenting with a couple of different ideas in the run up to rehearsals, and actually just seeing the cast doing what I've written down in my notepads and everything of what I want the show to go like. I'm just like, yeah, this actually works quite well.
So a lot of people have been describing this as Grease meets the Rocky Horror Show.
Yeah, it's been described from a lot of the reviews in the past as Grease meets Rocky Horror. So very much with regards to Grease, the rock and roll soundtrack and leather jackets and slick hair and whatever, plus high school life, of course. Then Rocky Horror, zombies, nuclear waste, and all that really, really absurd cliche, the horror stuff.
So it all revolves around a high school then. Tell us about the characters who we meet in the high school.
So the high school is run by the tyrannical principal, Miss Strict, who pretty much has full control over the school, so much so that she's actually taken a lot of the classes herself. So it's meant to be a team effort in the school, but Miss Strict doesn't really see that as the way, so she ends up doing pretty much all the jobs herself. In the high school, we meet the beautiful Toffee, who's your average girl who meets Johnny Warner, the new kid who spells his name without the customary H. So that kind of adds him a wee bit of the rebel without a cause kind of vibe. And of course, parents and friends are completely against the idea of Johnny. So unfortunately, without giving too much away, they have to split up, and leads us to the creation of the zombie. And then along the lines, we come across Eddie Flagrante, played by the wonderful James, who is a reporter who's recently just discovered this whole story, and this is his top scoop. I mean, if there's any way he's going to make a break for himself, this is it. So
James is here. James, tell us about your character.
Well, in this I play Eddie Flagrante, who is a pretty typical 1950s sleazy tabloid reporter. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. He's keen to break any story he can, as long as there's good dirt there that he can publish. And it's pretty enjoyable experience putting it together.
Tell us about you, because you've done quite a bit of acting over the years, haven't you? You've done bits of theatre, bits of TV, bits of film work, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a fair amount at this stage. I've been acting since, I think I started acting when I was 11. I took a bit of time off to do my music at one stage, but then dipped back in. Since then, I was in Joyriders in the Opera House, done by Apollo Arts. I was in DNA, also at the Opera House. I've done a few movies. There was a movie.
You did a film with Michael Palin, didn't you?
I did. It was called The Wipers Times. It was done for BBC, but it's a bit of a strange World War II film, but it was an enjoyable experience to work with the likes of Michael Palin, fantastic.
And you've done Game of Thrones too?
I've done Game of Thrones, yes. I was, I think, Robert Baratheon's bodyguard at one point in season 3. But there's a lot going on in Northern Ireland in regards to, the different film projects going on, the different plays, the different things going on in the theatre. But it's a good time to really be an actor in Northern Ireland, Now,
you mentioned your music there as well. Some people may recognise you as Diablo. That's your stage name, isn't it? It
is. I had a pretty strong rap career for many years. Did a lot of work in London. I worked with Labyrinth. He produced my debut album, which came out in 2010. I'm still working on bits and pieces. There probably will be new music out next year, I would imagine.
Brilliant. And of course, we were watching your dad on TV screens for many years. He was the late, great Jim Dougal.
He was, yeah, he was, I suppose that's kind of a good way in for me. You know, he was a reporter, so I can sort of loosely base it on him. But yeah, no, he was on the screen here for years and years, you know.
He was very much at the cutting edge of politics here, interviewing all our leading political figures over the years, didn't he?
Yeah, he also, I think he interviewed every president from Jimmy Carter up to Bush.
Wow.
And every prime minister from Harold Wilson maybe up to Tony Blair, so he was fairly well rounded.
Exactly.
But yeah, he's led by example, so just following the footsteps, you know.
So you're back on stage in Zombie Prom. Obviously, you're looking forward to this.
I am. I'd say Zombie Prom it's such an unusual musical. Like, there's nothing else really like it. And again, this is my first sort of toe in the water into musicals, but the creative direction of Nathan, Apollo Arts always put on a really good show. So it's a case of just getting stuck in and getting it going. It's quite a challenging role, but I think as an actor you want to be challenged. If you're not challenged, there's no point in doing it, you know. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be a really good show. Brilliant.
Nathan, you've just taken over as creative director of Apollo Arts. You had lots of success earlier this year with Chicago.
I have, yes. So after Chicago, I took over as creative director, as you've said. I don't know how to describe it, because, you know, one minute you're directing a show, the next minute you're a creative director. So I took it, I still do take it as a huge honor. So after Chicago, which was a raving success, we moved into a production called Veronica's Room, which we stayed as part of the Eastside Arts Festival, which much different to Chicago and Zombie Prom. Very psychological thriller, with a lot of very mature themes. Part of the Eastside Arts Festival. Yes, and again, another raving success. So what I'm trying to do, and it has been working very well so far, is every show has to be better than the last one.
Yeah.
And so, because Veronica's Room was a raving success, Zombie Prom's got to be even better.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm basing my ethos on. Every show, bump, you build.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then straight after Zombie Prom, you're into Panto for Christmas.
Yes. I'm a little bit scared to announce it now, but yes, we're going straight into Panto for a run at Christmas time, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the name of it.
Of course you are.
Okay, we are going to be staging Aladdin at the Crescent Arts Centre for their first Christmas pantomime.
All right, okay, well, we'll get you back in to talk about that when everything's ready. And Zombie Prom runs at the Crescent Arts Centre from the 16th until the 18th of October.
Yes, that's correct.
Guys, thank you so much for coming in. And time now for our What's On guide, where we take a look and see what's happening throughout Belfast and beyond over the next week or so. And we're starting off at the Grand Opera House, marking 40 years since its famous UK cinema release. Saturday Night Fever is spectacularly reimagined in a big new music and dance extravaganza. And whilst paying homage to the 1977 John Travolta classic, this new stage version promises more drama, more music, and hot new choreography, which is sure to have you dancing in the aisles. And starring Richard Windsor, you can catch Saturday Night Fever at the Grand Opera House until the 5th of October. Now, the legendary Miami show band make a return to Theatre at the Mill in Newton Abbey for one night only. So expect to be dancing in the aisles while clapping your hands and stomping your feet and singing along to classics like Simple Simon Says. And you can see the Miami at Theatre at the Mill on the 4th of October. And that's part of a show band weekend, because Club Sound also play the same venue on the 5th of October, and George Jones and the guys are celebrating 50 years in show business. Now, if you were there, then you will know that the music was better in the 1980s. Frankie Went to Hollywood, ABC Give Us the Look of Love, and Prince showered us in his Purple Rain. And you can catch Pleasure Dome's Rocktober show starring Morris J at the Empire here in Belfast on the 5th of October. The Illegal Eagles return to the Waterfront Hall also on the 5th of October following continued public demand for the world's official #1 tribute to the legendary rock band. So expect to hear all the classic tunes, including Hotel California, Take It to the Limit, Life in the Fast Lane, Take It Easy, Lion Eyes, Desperado, and many more. And finally, if you want to catch a movie in cinemas this weekend, the big one is Judy, starring Renée Zellweger. And legendary performer Judy Garland arrives in London in the winter of 1968 to perform a series of sold-out shows.
I'm sorry it's so late.
Miss Carl.
Oh, please. I'm Judy.
I'm very sorry, but your suite has been released.
What do you mean, released? Where exactly has it gone?
Your account was in arrears.
Clang, clang, clang with the trolley.
Mama, please don't go to sleep now.
No, these are the other ones.
Zing, zing, zing.
The kids need a home, Judy.
I know what kids need. They need their mother.
We can't have the world's greatest entertainer out here without a drink.
Frank Sinatra's here?
Frank is great, but he is no Judy Garland.
Chug, chug, chug.
I don't have a home. I can't even get a manager.
London would offer you a lot of money.
Talk of the town is desperate to do a deal with you.
You're saying I have to leave my children if I want to make enough money to be with my children? I would very much like to stay.
Judy? Have you seen Judy? There's an audience out there waiting to hear you sing.
My mouth's dry and it could fall apart.
Listen to me.
Judy! I can't.
You'll be fine. On you go.
What?
Room service.
I didn't order anything.
There's a man under the trolley.
Surprise!
Ricky!
You're gonna love me.
The kids miss you, and they also want to stay put.
I'm coming back for them.
You're not listening.
I have someone I can rely on now.
I'm gonna love you.
You're late.
So what? You have to be home for your mommy to put you to bed?
Are you going to be all right?
What if I can't do it again?
Mama? Mama, are you there?
Somewhere
You need to take better care of yourself. You understand?
over the rainbow.
Everybody has their troubles, and I've had mine. I just want what everybody wants. I just seem to have a harder time getting it.
Do you take anything for depression?
4 husbands. Didn't work.
There's a land that I...
You won't forget me, will you?
And Claire Shaw must be one of the most busiest people in Belfast at the moment because she joins us now in the studio to tell us all about this year's festival. Welcome.
Thank you, Robin. Thanks for having me.
Things must be absolutely crazy at the moment.
Really crazy, really hectic, but we are so excited for the next 30 days of the Cinemagic Festival programme.
So it's hard to believe 30 years. It's a while since we've done this, but I feel like I've been on that journey for 30 years. You probably do as well.
You have, yeah, and you have always supported Cinemagic right from nearly the get-go. We don't look as old as 30, but yes, so many people from Belfast in the industry, in the film and television industry, have supported Cinemagic along the way, and of course further afield across the world in terms of all of our industry support. So we're really grateful of all of the people that do support Cinemagic, that lend a hand and get involved and help to inspire young people through film and television.
So very quickly, for somebody who's been living on a different planet for the past few years, what exactly is Cinemagic?
Well, Cinemagic is a charity. It's a film festival charity for young people aged 4 to 25, and we provide practical opportunities for young people to get into the film and television industry, but also we promote film from around the world. So it's about promoting cultural film and world cinema and letting young people sort of broaden their horizons and watch movies from around the world, hear stories from different storytellers and directors from around the world, and really inspire and motivate young people, and using film as the vehicle to do that.
And it's great to see so many young people from here getting involved, and they're actually producing some very good work, aren't they?
My goodness, yes, we're so proud of lots and lots of young people who have come through Cinemagic and have gone on to pursue brilliant careers in the industry. For example, Michael Lennox, who is the director of Derry Girls, is a Cinemagic young alumni. So about 15, 16 years ago, he came through Cinemagic on work experience and won a number of our short film competitions. In more recent years, we have lots of young people who have got on board through our BFI Film Academy programmes, through short film making competitions and initiatives. And and they have been inspired and motivated to forge a career in film and television in all disciplines, you know, from in front of the camera to behind the camera and all areas of the film industry. And young people have gone on to work on lots of productions in Northern Ireland here and further afield in the UK.
So there's lots happening over the next 30 days. If we were to go through everything in this programme, we'd be here for 30 days, getting through the whole thing. But tell us about some of the big highlights, some of the big family highlights this year.
Some of the family highlights that we're really proud to present include the new movie Abominable. So we have a special preview of it, and it's the new movie from DreamWorks and Universal Pictures. Then the following week, on the 12th of October, we have the new preview of Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon. So that'll be a great one for all generations, and it's great in terms of Cinemagic engaging with young people, but also parents, grandparents, all family members that we really want to encourage to go to the cinema together. So we've lots of family animations and family feature films, including special previews that haven't got distribution yet. And over the course of the festival, we also have a focus on Aardman animation, because they are actually 30 years old as well this year.
Wow.
So we're delighted to be doing sort of a joint celebration over one of the weekends, and we're showing a retrospective of some of their films, including A Grand Day Out and A Close Shave, and lots of model making workshops for young people to try their hand at the clay model making. We also have a brilliant classic family film programme, and we're delighted to welcome the actress Hayley Mills to Cinemagic.
I'm very excited.
So that is something that a lot of people of all ages are excited about, and that's on the 20th of October, and Hayley is coming to do a Q&A along with the movie Whistle Down the Wind. So that'll be a fascinating event to hear about her career and hear about all of the movies that she has worked on, and really just journey through the film and television industry through the eyes of Hayley Mills. So it's really an opportunity to show films at Cinemagic, but also that sort of added value of hearing a talk from an actress or a film crew member, for example.
So as well as Hayley, who else is coming?
Well, we are delighted to welcome Seamus McGarvey to Cinemagic, and he is an Armagh-born cinematographer. He has worked on a multitude of Hollywood movies, and the one that we're screening at the festival this year from Seamus is The Greatest Showman, and he worked on that in the cinematography. So we're delighted to get a Q&A with him, and he's fantastic in terms of sharing his experiences with young people and with young audiences, and he'll give tips and insights into the career of a cinematographer. We're also excited to welcome Mark Kermode back to the festival.
Wouldn't be a film festival without him,
well,
really, would it?
It wouldn't, indeed. So I think this is actually his 14th year coming to Cinemagic, and he is a fantastic supporter of the festival. And every year he chooses a movie to show at his event, and this year it is Kiki's Delivery Service. Before his movie, he will do a Q&A about all of the year's film releases, and it's fantastic to hear from him, and it's a great night of in conversation around film, hosted by Brian Henry Martin.
And I see as well it's the 50th anniversary of Kes.
That is correct, the 50th anniversary of Kes, and we're super excited to welcome David Bradley, who is the actor from Kes. But that is such a classic movie, and lots of people over the years and over the generations would say that is one of the best British films ever made. So we're delighted to get that visit from David Bradley. And also it's the 80th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz this year. So we are teaming up with Belfast Cathedral and BFI Musical Season to present The Wizard of Oz in Belfast Cathedral for a really special gala evening event, and it'll actually officially close the Cinemagic Festival. So a classic family movie in the beautiful surroundings of St Anne's Cathedral.
And I can't believe there's people out there who have never seen The Wizard of Oz.
It's incredible, but you know what? Films like this at Cinemagic, it brings films like this to new audiences. So lots of young people, or maybe not so young people, who haven't had a chance to see it, it wouldn't be on the big screen very often, so it's a brilliant chance to come along and see a classic on the silver screen.
And of course you've got the Judy movie coming out at the same time as well, so it all ties in.
It all ties in, so hopefully that'll really sort of relate to young people and audiences of and fans of musicals.
What about local stuff? Any local movies we should look forward to?
We're actually screening a movie called A Good Woman is Hard to Find, and it is written by local writer Ronan Blaney. So it's being screened over in the Strand Arts Centre, and there was a huge amount of crew input from Northern Ireland on that particular movie, so it'll be a nice evening to get the crew that were involved in that movie together to see the film. And we really also showcase and nurture young talent. So over one of the weekends of the festival, we're putting on a number of films made by young people from the UK and Ireland, and they can come along and watch those movies and see what their peers are making and see those movies on the big screen and sort of share and network. And that's our Young Filmmaker Weekend, which is a packed weekend as well, full of talks and workshops from local filmmakers, local directors, animators, lots of people involved in that in terms of sharing advice and sharing their experiences, because it's all about helping young people to get a foot into the industry, and who better to learn from than people working in the industry at the moment.
So we did mention the Ardman workshop. What other workshops can kids really get involved in?
Well, young people can get involved in the creative side of things. So we have a brilliant workshop in flip book making, which is like looking at the little sort of film stories made through the little flip books. We've got workshops as well in the Ulster Museum in puppet making and puppet training. So young people that are interested in that discipline can come along and try their hand at that. We're also hosting a workshop in props, in costume making and in costume design. So all of those areas that maybe you wouldn't traditionally think of as careers within the film industry, especially young people might not think of them. There's a chance to, get a demonstration and get an insight into those workshops and into those areas.
All right, if people want more information, give us the website details so you can get everything from.
So to find out more information, you can visit cinemagic.org.uk.
Brilliant. Well, Claire, the very best of luck with this year's festival. It sounds
Thank
like an
you.
amazing 30 days.
Thanks, Robin.
So there we go. Lots to check out at this year's Cinemagic Festival. That's all we have time for on The Big Show this week. We'll see you back here same time next week. Bye-bye.